salvation for. They're not going to find it in Premier League football. But it's very, very sad that we are facing this. The enemy is our own people. Because by now we should have stood up. The protests that we've been holding all summer, last summer, and the various free speech protests, there should have been tens of thousands of Irish people at those. Hundreds of thousands. Does anyone else have any questions?
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
As a local taxi driver for the last 15 years, for the local taxi driver for the last 15 years, I see what goes on with walking out the taxi. And the people who are outside the night, I wouldn't pass them any heat because they're the direct somewhere. They don't want me saying the air, you know. You see that carry on out there. So I do believe when we're coming outside, walk straight for you, don't even look at them. They're useless. They don't want me saying
John was talking about the fertility rate in Ireland. John was talking about the fertility rate in Ireland, and in our constitution, the preamble is very clear that we're a Christian nation, and it's also about justice, prudence, and charity. And the question I'm saying here, John, is that I don't have the right to murder you or anybody else. And I hope if anti-corruption Ireland gets into power, can they bring legislation to abortion referendum?
I believe so, yes. It's very important to say that that referendum was unlawful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was wrong. I was saying this around the country for months before, for nearly a year before the vote, but we couldn't get an RTE or anybody to say it. But the point is that the Article 43.3 was not created by the people. It was voted in by the people. The wording was formulated by lawyers, but the content of it is a natural law content, which reflects the fundamental human rights that we all share, in this case, in respect of the unborn child. So it's simply there as a reminder, a note for the Irish people, to remind them that the unborn child is covered by natural law. By voting the article out, the only thing that actually happened was that we removed the article from the Constitution. In no earthly way can it be imagined to vote down the rights of the child. That didn't happen. It could not happen. The only reason it happened was we corrupt the legal establishment as well as corrupt media and corrupt judiciary. Because and a corrupt legal profession through and through. I tried for 6 months to get lawyers, particularly senior counsel, to take a case to the Supreme Court to argue that this referendum was itself unlawful and unconstitutional on the basis that it was not possible for people to vote on up or down on whether or not the human child could be killed. And I couldn't get one. And they gave me all kinds of spurious arguments, usually to do with arguments like things about information, which instead have decided the matter of natural law status, natural law in the Constitution. A different question is about the freedom of use of the street. You know, where the way can you say that that's the same as murder? That it's a sanction of murder. So now I noticed in this election that certain pro-life candidates and certain pro-life parties and their stooges in the media are now telling us that this is settled law and that we should. Yes, well, it seems that they're trying to tap into the pro-life vote without actually representing the pro-life cause. Now, it seems to me that there's nothing more important for any politician going into office, going into the door, who is pro-life, than to screen every opportunity they get long before it started, and for its duration, completely contrary to law. It was also supported by at least 600,000 illegal votes, 600,000, which no politician, no government agency or department has tried to track down, even though they have been aware of it for at least 5 years. That there's over 500,000 extra additional votes on the electoral register that cannot be accounted for. And these can only be, I believe, immigrants who are not entitled to vote at all in referendums, and double voting by students, which was orchestrated by the colleagues of some of those people out there today, who signed up people in the colleges, students in the colleges all over Ireland, with a minimum of education. Basically, I'm just turning up. And the third part of it then was that the referendum was organised in such a way that the polls were open very late, so these students could make their way from the college location to the council to vote a second time. This is the kind of country we have arrived in. So all of this needs to be investigated. The first thing I think a decent local government would have to do is set up a tribunal which would report within 3 months on these questions, on the funding by George Soros, particularly Amnesty International and other bodies, on the electoral register, and declare every election since this was discovered to be null and void. Every election. And to cancel the pensions of every minister and politician who sat in Leinster House during that period. Restore Article 43.3 into the Constitution and restore the reputation of Ireland as a nation of human beings.
Be done. Very much so. Peter is going to have. Fiona, do you want to just come up for a moment, Fiona?
Very brief.
Just a couple of minutes.
Okay, yes, yeah. So, and you, Peter, you go first. You have to hold this right up to your hand.
Just to calm people a bit about one thing, it's about the fear of Muslimism and Islam, and they shouldn't really have that, because for the last 300 years, really top historical scientists analysed the Christian religion to bits, to sort of wipe it out, and good guys, bad guys, and in the end they didn't do it. And so whatever religious belief you have, it should be open to analysis, the most rigorous going. And in time, and it has been done to Muslim religion, and so many of the believers are really, honest belief. But when you analyse Muslim religion, it boils down to a nationalist movement from Arabia, started about 700 years after the birth of Christ. It was a reaction to the super efficient Roman, Greek, and Jewish modern philosophy that dominated way down into and everyone who was on the Romans, the Egyptians and everything, they all wanted to get out for it, but they grew up a resentment of this super wonderful system that these other civilizations had, and that is the origin of the fourth outpouring, it's called. That's in 700, when they move out across the world. And they'd always done that before, from the Arabian Peninsula, to try and get out. And all the other great empires keep those very strong people in the Arabian Peninsula down. They're fierce. The climate made it fierce. Everyone was scared of living there outside. And eventually they broke through in 700, and they spread over the whole world. And in the end, we have a situation here where, of the 46 roughly Muslim countries, only one is truly Arabic countries. Only one is Arabic. That's Arabia. Every other country, Algeria, Turkey, everywhere, or Iran, where you speak Arabic in those countries, you've lost your own original indigenous language. Like Coptic is the original. So people all over the Middle East are realising that. They're realising that basically it's like the Faroe Islands taking over the Roman Empire. And once they see it's not a religion of transcendentalism of God and true love, but really a nationalist movement from a particular region. They realise, my God, the great Sumerian and Akkadian emperors we have got wiped out, and they want them back. And so, when many people around the world realise that in all these Muslim countries, then it's like a balloon. The air goes out of the nationalism, and they want to go back, like in Iran, to their Zoroastrian and all their ancient beliefs. And so I'd say to people, in time, and it has been done before, but shielded from the people, when there's a calm setting out of the origins of the Islamic religion, it diffuses it, and it doesn't become, so don't be frightened that some great movement that is grounded in truth is going to overcome you. In time, it will deflate. But it's a long struggle, but to use my famous phrase, be not afraid.
Well, I don't think no, Peter just said
I'll
that
just say,
we need more campuses.
yeah, we need more
Dublin
campuses.
Central, Dunleary, and here in Fingal. So if there's anyone available,
We have taken some names already.
and of course, oh yeah, well,
No,
to those who are here.
So I'll spread.
There's
We
no
have got some names
comparable
on
many
the.
here, is there?
I got some names already, so I'll hand out the leaflet again, and we see. I said.
Is
what
there
did you-
anyone available to canvass here?
In Dublin Fingal. Yeah.
Would you be?
Yeah.
So will you talk to?
Yeah.
just-
Later, I know. Yeah.
We're gonna
I
do
will go with you,
this
and
next
then
2 weeks.
you, and anyone, just if you're waiting, you just come up and ask for, put your name on the sheet of paper. And the quickest thing is put your name, your phone number, and where you live. So you sort of basically, is that okay?
Yeah, but they don't need just the name and phone number.
But
just
you know,
the
if
name and phone
you're
number.
down in Tipperary or something, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, no, as long as it's within these general. Fiona, will you say just a couple of minutes about Thursday, and then I think we'll finish, unless there's anything else.
So very quickly, I know we all want to go home. Another thing we won't be able to talk about very soon, and that's climate change. Or anybody who has any questions about climate change, will be called a mass murderer, or a denial, or a denier. So we're not denying climate change, it's always change, it always will change, and it's primarily solar driven. What isn't settled, like any manner of means, is the anthropogenic global warming part, the man-made CO2 driven climate change. And I was a believer. I used to actually teach a bit of it. I'm not a geologist or climatologist or anything like that, but I used to teach it because I just thought, oh yeah, everyone says so, so it's true. So it wasn't until recently that I did a little bit of research and realised it's just not in the data. There is no empirical evidence that links CO2 with temperature increases. There is no causal effect. And that's really important as a statistician to get causality. There is certain correlations, but it depends on the slices of time that you look at that you get the relationships you want. But anyway, to cut a long story short, on Thursday, I'll be doing a little bit, and we'll also have some real climate experts talking about the sort of the theory behind the anthropogenic global warming, but most importantly, where it's going, what it's being used to implement, which is the UN-driven Agenda 2030 agenda to effectively control every aspect of our lives, our energy consumption, where we travel, how we live, our movements, literally every aspect of our lives. So, I think it would be a great informative evening if you're interested in that. And another thing we'll talk about is 5G, which is military-grade technology, which is very high frequency, very short wavelength, and that is an integral part of the Agenda 2030, which is linked to climate change, which again is going to hook us all up to a smart internet and with smart technology and monitor every aspect of our lives. So, but there are significant health concerns with 5G. I don't want to believe it. I don't want to think it's dangerous. I'm sure nobody here wants to think it's dangerous, but there is evidence out there, and I think we have to confront it. We'll also talk a bit about HPV in terms of vaccine safety. We're not anti-vaxxers at all. I'm totally vaccinated. So some of my children will know nothing HPV. But what we want is vaccine safety, and we want more information, transparent information, so that each and every one of us can make a decision for ourselves based on our own risk preferences and based on the information that we get. So HPV is because they're pushing it so sort of vigorously, and I was taken back by that from my own daughters as well. I think it's very interesting to hear what the evidence is saying, so that we can really make an informed choice. And I think there's something else. No, I think I've got everything there. So that's Thursday, 8 o'clock. Oh yeah, and water fluoridation. It obviously affects the IQ and the memory.
If you have friends or people in your family who believe that, you know, we've 12 years left, who are Greta followers, like this priest in Brackenstown in St. Cronan's yesterday at Greta was a modern day saint. Imagine that. So the people of his parish are listening to that every week and being brainwashed. So do try to encourage people to come to that. I think we will finish. One thing I would like to do is to take a group photo. Anyone who doesn't want to be in it, fine. But I would like those who are happy, just so we could show that our meeting went ahead. I'd like us to stand leaders and leaders of 1916 in our proclamation, if that's okay. And then we'll play Our Own Naveen, and then we'll go home. Oh, sorry, Dee is going to say, sorry, Dee won't. The night is not.
Hi folks, I just want to say one thing about anyone out there that knows an advert, knows anyone in their areas that thinks Sinn Féin is the best thing since fried bread. Something I've learned today, I'd like you to inform them. I have it on my manifesto there, end property tax. We spent 25 years paying for our homes.